too close or too far away. It's much too early, or it's far too late. Maybe I'm too old now, I'm just afraid that you'll walk away. You're across the room from me, but it's an ocean wide, and the current's pulling us, dragging me aside. Or you're a constellation, and I'm just a star, blinking in the universe, but you'll never notice me at all. Just believe me, even if the words don't come out, they're here inside my head, stuck inside my mouth. been sleeping alone, and I've been eating alone, hiding under the stairs, even though no one's home. And if you're living in the daylight, or living underground, never sending a message, there's someone's watching. Someone's watching. Hear the flock of the sirens, watch through the screen. He hatched pots at the supermarket, never crossed the sea. With the cameras hanging on plastic rings, he always had the feeling that someone's watching. And now she's sleeping alone, and now she's eating alone, hiding under the stairs, even though no one's home. And if you're living in the daylight, or living underground, never sending a message, there's someone's watching. I don't care, someone's watching. If you're living in the daylight, or living underground, never sending a message, there's someone's watching. I don't care if someone's watching. Someone's watching. Someone's watching. Someone's so tired of waiting until you came. My whole direction will never be the same. So full of love with this thing we made. Since you're right through my heart, my love for her will never fade. My love for her will never fade. I've waited many days, but you can't help taking care of my girl, you know somehow. And it's so worked out now that you are here. And I'm so proud that I wipe my tears. 'Cause I knew what was going on in the head of yours. I don't make sense to it when I feel that I'm making it worse. I try to find out just what's hurting you, and a new perspective if gonna find the truth. If gonna find the truth. I've waited many days, but you can't help taking care of my girl, you know somehow. And it's so worked out now that you are here. And I'm so proud that I wipe my tears. Time goes by, and soon you grow. Don't be shy, your headphones, girl. I hope that I can do this right. Make sure you feel safe tonight. Make sure you feel safe tonight. So proud that I wipe my tears.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Collegiate Star League's Fall Hearthstone season brought to you by Blizzard and Twitch. I'm Nomo Dogan, and casting with me tonight will be Lucia.
Welcome back, Nomo.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back. I'm excited for tonight's series. It seems like we're going to have University of Santa Cruz, their Hearthstone team known as the Banana Slugs, versus California State Fullerton, also known as CSUF Esports. Should be an exciting match.
Indeed. Were you here for the first time we saw the banana slugs last week, or was that the series that you were gone for?
I actually don't believe so.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but Banana Slugs
I
doesn't
think.
exactly ring a bell.
Okay, yeah, I feel like that's one of those things where you would definitely recognize it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think I would. I think it's probably the most exciting team name we've had so far.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, I can't give them the credit. It's kind of their school mascot, but definitely very cool. There's actually the one in game looks very happy and friendly, but the one that the video team did a while back actually looks pretty menacing. They had the slug with his arms crossed, looking super macho. So it's kind of you see the two sides of the slug, the happy slug and the angry slug, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like we're gonna have our first game underway here. We are gonna have Sky 712 versus Kill Your Rhythm. Not sure if it's supposed to be Kill Your Rhythm. I think that's what it probably is. Kill you
Yeah,
a
there's an extra A in there that just wants to throw you for a loop.
Hmm. I'm not sure what it's for, but interesting name.
Yep, and just to remind everyone of the format, this is a best of 5, and both teams are only allowed to play each class once. So, we'll have to see. This is the first season, so a lot of these teams are just sort of starting to figure out the format, but as it goes on, I'm sure, they'll figure things out and they'll decide how to kind of do a strategy here around, what classes to play before the others.
Right. Definitely. Now we see from Kill Your Rhythm a pretty strong opening hand as the Druid, double Innervate Coin, and Ancient of Lore, as well as Darnassus Aspirant and Druid of the Claw. He's going to have a lot of action in these early turns. It's just up to him on how he wants to sequence it.
Absolutely. And Sky decided not to play out the Fiery War Axe. Now, with the addition of Darnassus Aspirant and TGT, that's something that he could consider doing. You can put out the War Axe and then, sort of decide what you want to do next turn.
Right.
But, he has the Shield Slam. He's sort of got both options still open. It's all kind of the same.
I guess there's also the scenario where your opponent has Wild Growth and or like the choice between Wild Growth and Darnassus Aspirant. So he was maybe thinking about, he wants him to play the Darnassus Aspirant instead of the Wild Growth. That way he could just kill it off.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. I mean, if his opponent plays out a Savage Combatant, as his first creature, then you sort of waste the Death Bite. The War Axe, you'd much rather just equip the Death Bite to start. So,
mhm.
just go ahead and wait to see what your opponent plays. He has pretty much, almost all of his weapons in hand, so I would just kind
Yeah.
of wait. This is a really nice Slam and War Axe Valley for him here.
hmm Yeah, it clears that Ancient Allure pretty effectively, although you still can't feel too happy about it. Your opponent playing a 5/5 on turn 3, getting back both the innervates that they just used to make it, in terms of cards, cost 2 innervates to make it. He got the 2 cards back off the draw, so basically like a 3 mana 5/5 in that sense.
Yeah,
So that was
that's
pretty
fair
strong.
if you think about it that way.
Hmm.
And looks like we have a standard control warrior here from Sky. We've seen a couple of these mid-range patron decks, but looking at Sky's hand, it's, I would say, pretty safe to say that he's playing control.
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. You don't see many patron warriors that play Ysera, Brawl, that kind of stuff. Actually, you probably don't see any that play those cards. So yeah, I would say it's most likely
Ooh.
Control Warrior. Could be Dragon. dragon variant of it, but we'll see.
Do you think Sky and I would assume Sky intended to do that, as
Mhm.
opposed to because he had the option to shield slam it and then throw the Death Spite in if he wanted to clear it.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice. I mean, to me, with that shield slam in hand, you might just want to use it before you lose your armor, but maybe he's got something else in mind here for that. I mean, he does have he does have a bash in his hand, doesn't he?
Yep.
Okay. Um, yeah, so he does have that,
Ooh.
and
He picks up the execute, so if he wants, he could use that instead.
that really works out, that draw, because now he can just hit the 4-2 Druid of the Claw. I guess he'll be taking a lot of damage, though. He's got Bash and his hero power to recover a little bit of that, but you don't really want to get too comfortable at a lower health total versus Druid, I think. He's gonna opt to go
Wow.
for the other Death Spite. This is interesting. I mean, he wants to curve out into Dr. Boom here. Okay, he actually hasn't played the Death Spite. He's considering this carefully, which I think is good. He does realize that he's starting to get a little low on health. He's using it as a resource a lot, and it could come back to bite him later on, as we see Kill Your Rhythm already has combo in hand, lying in wait. But other than that, he doesn't have a whole lot of action.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the BGH, right? That will come down for the Dr. Boom for Sky. And then otherwise his hand is, well, his hand in general is very reactive other than the Darnassus, but on turn 6 you're kind of like, okay, I'm playing a Darnassus, it's not all that exciting.
I would actually consider wrathing my own Darnassus here. It's dead to
Yeah,
the Death Spite anyways,
that's true.
and how valuable is Wrath in a control matchup like this? You're not going to be killing many things with it, especially on these later turns. You're expecting bigger threats. So yeah, I would definitely like to see that here.
Yeah, I'd agree. And with that, at least you technically used up all the mana you had, right? Ooh, that Thorson, unfortunately, he would have really liked that last turn. That might have spelt out lethal
hmm
for him the next turn because he would have that reduction on Savage Roar Force. Very hard for Sky to clear off his Thorson without, face tanking it somewhat. So
Yeah, that would have been really strong.
kind of gives Sky just one more turn to kind of figure out what he's doing.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the Dr. Boom here for Sky. I like this. I don't think there's a whole lot of other ways you would want to do this. I mean, you do put yourself pretty low by taking a bit of extra damage, but at this point, you've got Armor Smith, you've got Bash, you've got other ways of gaining life. I think he's just going to hope to not get comboed out, but a really strong turn from Kill Your Rhythm right back. Deals with the whole board and puts a 4-2 into play. And at this
Pretty
point,
lucky.
yeah, at this point, you definitely don't want to face tank that BGH either, so Bash is good. But yeah, that was a pretty fortunate draw for sure. The BGH was lying in wait for a few turns. It did lead to a dead turn in the middle there, but definitely pays off against that Dr. Boom.
So Ice Shield can't combo Sky this turn. He's used both his Innervates, so there's literally, zero chances that he has it, and Sky
Right.
is on 13 mana, so he's gonna go ahead and just play out the Armor Smith. He saw a swipe as well, so again, feeling like, not much of a danger of that Armor Smith getting killed. So opting to do
Mhm.
that instead of playing the Sledge Belcher last turn.
Yep, I think this is a good recovery play. He knows he has to gain some life. Armorsmith isn't very threatened right now, and he just wants to maximize how much health he gains over the next couple of turns. So I think it's good, especially setting up for Shield Slam as well. And eventually surviving to Ysera, I think, is the game plan here. You just got to make it past these crucial turns where combo is going to be available, and hopefully stabilize after that.
Yeah, the Sludge Belcher is going to be huge. Mostly, with the two pieces, it's very hard to clear off. With everything sort of dealing slightly off in terms of damage, right? You have the... Well, actually, sorry, the The Shade would be able to deal with the first half exact, but the problem is, you just kind of throw away your Shade for free.
Right. And that wouldn't be lethal damage either.
Yeah. And with the 2 hits, you get the Armor Smith value out of there. So I Shield opting to go for the Thorson play instead of the Azure Drake. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think this is fine. He knows he needs to have some strong turns coming up, especially like with this Azure Drake, with this Wild Growth. I like getting the discounts here, even though he could put more things in hand. It also puts a bigger body onto the board, but the game's still looking pretty good for Sky. Like he set up a solid wall here, and he's gonna gain a lot of armor, especially since he has that Whirlwind off the Death Spite, he has another Bash in hand, and he has his hero power, so it's actually looking decent for Sky right now, but Kill Your Rhythm could have some sick draws as a Druid player. Even though we know he doesn't have Innervate, the second Savage Roar could lead to a potential massive damage combo here if he draws that.
Actually,
So,
that is true. Getting the Thorson down means that second Savage Roar, I believe, is lethal. I'm not going to count it up.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's lethal too,
Yeah,
but
and
if it comes
then
up, we'll check.
there's Swipe, but he won't have enough mana to play that. Thankfully for Sky, he's built up a bit of armor here, so that Shield Slam will be able to deal with Thorson easily.
Right. Yeah, not using it earlier in the game did cost him a little bit of health, but it looks like it might pay off here in the late game, depending on what he does. This turn, he could just
I
shield slam the
do.
Theriston and play Ysera.
Yeah, I agree.
Or this, just to get an extra buffer of health up there. Alright, looks like he's just going to gain as much health as possible. I think this is an understandable play, especially since your opponent just played Theriston. You just want to really get out of range. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable enough yet to play the Ysera.
He might have counted it up as well to see, a round double Savage.
Hmm.
Again, I didn't count it, but
Yeah, I think it's
Sky went all the way to roping that turn, so I'm sure he looked through, looked at all the possibilities and decided this was the safest thing that he could do.
mhm. Yeah, I think he was doing a lot of math there as well.
Living Root's
Decide.
gonna be nice to take out the Armor Smith.
Yep, the spell damage off the Azure Drake is helpful there. Finally get this Armor Smith off the board. It did generate a decent amount of value. Just it being on the board was threatening enough, even if it didn't gain a whole lot of armor.
A little bit unfortunate here. With that second Sludge Belcher out, that would have been, the Druid would have a lot of trouble dealing with the 2 Sludge Belchers and an Armor Smith behind it. But thankfully, I Shield got rid of that, so with the Dr. Boom in hand, with 1 set of combo, he's definitely still in the game.
Yep, for sure. I think Sky is probably deciding between this Brawl and Sludge Belcher here. I mean, with that Shade of Naxxramas in play, that's pretty scary. It's not massive yet, but looks like he's going to bide his time here, which I think is the right decision. The Druid's still going to have 4 cards in their hand, so holding on to that Brawl for a little bit longer, seeing if you can eke out a little bit more value, I think is a fine play, fine decision.
So with the 2 Sludge Belchers out the way that they are, that takes 4 things to kill them, which means, let's see, with the trees, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Ice Shield has 6 ways to deal damage, assuming a set of trees plus whatever he has on board. So only 2 will get to phase, so he's pretty far away from lethal at the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely can't play both of those Force of Natures in one turn. He is going to opt to use one now, though, which I think he's definitely considering the Brawl here with this play. He's respecting it. He doesn't want to overcommit, but then again, does this play put enough pressure on its own? Is he putting Sky in a place where he's going to be able to lethal him within the next turn or two?
Ooh, the Shield Slam comes up, so This guy could clear this off and play Ysera. I think that's the way to go at this point, right?
Yep, I'd be really happy with that play.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not accomplishing a whole lot with Brawl when you could just clear these with your other cards anyway, and get your Ysera into play. And Sky is going to take a commanding position here as the Ysera comes onto the board and pulls an Emerald Drake into his hand.
Not bad.
Ooh, I think that
Yeah,
is
that's
lethal.
lethal.
The second Savager, I believe that's 22 total
Oh,
damage.
Indeed.
Oh man.
Well, so much for all that.
Insane. We were talking about the second Savager earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only 10 cards left in Kill Your Rhythm's deck, and wow.
One
Just
out of
like
10 ain't
that.
bad. Druid going to do Druid things.
For sure. I mean, both Innervate's already used, but Theresen coming into play a few turns earlier is basically like a third Innervate. It reduced the cost a few turns in advance and allows Kill Your Rhythm to combo for 22 total damage and finish off Sky.
Yep, so with that, the Druid taking the game over the Warrior. Now both those classes will be out for their respective schools. Next we will have Add-On versus Blue Jacket. We'll have to see what they decide to bring to the table.
Yep, it should be interesting. I think that matchup kind of turned out how most people expect it to. The Druid is largely favored versus Control Warrior. I think,
It was,
in popular opinion.
yeah, it got, you know, sort of that point where it's like Control Warrior sort of has the board lead, but then the Druid is just drawing for, you know, his combo. And then once he got it, then that's it, right? Early game, Druid has a couple more cards happening, but as
Yeah.
we saw, the 1 out of 10 got the combo, killed the Warrior. Pretty straightforward.
Yep, double combo, do it. Well, let's check out this next matchup we've got here. We've got Add-On 1, 2, 3 as the Paladin versus Blue Jacket as the Priest. Now, just by the opening hand here from Blue Jacket, it looks like he's a Dragon Priest. I think usually Twilight Whelp is the dead giveaway. And Add-On seems like he's going to be playing some sort of mid-range Paladin.
Yep. No secret seen so far. I'm optimistic.
I mean, you never know. There are some hybrid lists out there. We could just be missing it. There might be a mysterious challenger in there somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Oh. Okay, so keeping the muster, I'm guessing he wants to go for the coin quartermaster. It is pretty hard for the priest to deal with that. Priest doesn't really have a good way to, you know, just kill off 3 little guys.
Yep, Wild Pyromancer used to be a popular choice in Priest, but especially in a deck like Dragon Priest, there just aren't enough slots to include that card. In most cases, some people still fit one in or something like that, but in general, most people don't play them anymore. So.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the Chromagus and Chill mod, then I would definitely say there is no room for that.
Yep, I would agree. Chromagus is another interesting choice here. We don't see that in all of the Dragon Priest lists, I think, but maybe he's included it just as another card that's strong against control decks, which I think is fine. Dragon Priest can struggle in those matchups a lot of the time because they have so few top-end threats, and they're so focused on the early and mid-game to beat aggro decks that they can fall behind really easily against control decks in the late game.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, for Blue Jacket, it looks like he just has his late game pieces here at the moment. Doesn't look like he even has a play for next turn. I guess, you know, sort of what he did before. Hit, heal one of them, or heal himself.
Yeah.
Got the Worm Rest, though, so that'll allow him to use his mana efficiently.
Yep, that definitely fits the curve. Would like to see him take out 2 of these 1/1s. Goes for that. I like it. Gotta respect that quartermaster, especially when you know your opponent has the coin.
Yeah, I would just go for the Shredder here. There's no point using up your coin at the moment. And He's got the Shredder, Sludge Belcher into Murloc Knight, so looking pretty decent.
Right. Yeah, Murloc Knight would definitely be a better card to save. Shredder is great just as a turn 4 play. Does opt to do that. Also hits the Wormrest Agent for 1. I think that's fine. You got a lot of charges on that Light's Justice. You never know if you're going to be able to kill that Wormrest Agent off with Consecration next turn. So just giving himself that option, if that does come up, I think is a good choice.
It's like, here, you have some justice. You have some justice. Everybody. Spread the justice.
That's what Uther's all about, I mean. All about the justice. I mean, Anduin does steal other people's stuff a lot of times, so Uther wants to show him what's up.
Another muster. That'll be... We sort of have a couple turns planned out here. Right, we've got... Oh, not the Quartermaster. Please not the Quartermaster.
Yeah, that would be a sad Quartermaster indeed.
He's like, alright, huh?
He's like, alright guys, pick up your swords, and he's like the only guy out there on the battlefield against this army of dragons, and yeah, he just kind of gets slaughtered himself.
Pretty confused Quartermaster.
Rough day for sure.
Clearly he's like, well, Quartermaster trades favorably with that Azure Drake at the moment, right? So that's why that's happening.
Things are looking pretty solid here for Blue Jacket. I mean, he's had a nice draw so far. Besides that somewhat awkward turn 4, he's had a dragon in hand to activate his other dragons for all of his dragons so far. So that theme definitely coming to light here.
Yeah, I like the way it turned out. You know, usually you see in a Dragon Priest, you stumble in the couple of the first turns, right? And it's pretty awkward, but for him, it worked out fine. He's sort of made it here, and at this point, why does that card say 0?
Yeah, I actually saw that earlier too when I was asking about the bash, but...
And it looks like a Warlock card.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Strange things happen in Hearthstone.
Ooh, a Flame Tongue.
Yeah, that was a really...
Not bad for the slime.
But not exactly what you want to see off the Shredder, I think. That was a strong Holy Nova from Blue Jacket.
Definitely.
Cleaned up a lot of the board, drew off of it, and Add-on finds himself at 11 HP versus a strong Priest board. How's he going to claw his way out of this one?
He really needs to clear the board. He's got a couple strong plays technically, but the problem is they don't deal with any threats right now. You know, like you've got Knife Muster, you've got Murloc Knight, you've got Sylvanas, but none of them get rid of damage immediately.
Alright, he's just going to opt for his strongest play. His biggest board possible. Seems like a good bet here since he can't really clear anything. He might as well just make a really big board, but is that lethal for Blue Jacket? He's got 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. I believe that's 1 damage off lethal? Or wait. He could Cabal the Flame Tongue Totem, but then it's going to be in between the Cabal. Because when you Cabal, I think it goes right next to the... I think it goes all the way to the right side.
Yeah, I
believe
you're right.
That's the way that works. So he doesn't have enough mana to Cabal and Velen's Chosen, so I think no matter how he slices it, he's 1 damage off lethal here.
Yeah. He should be pretty safe, though.
Yeah, he's going to take his time, just draw, which I like.
Is he going to grab... He still has the option to grab the Flame Tongue at the moment.
I personally like killing off the Flame Tongue and stealing the Quartermaster, but just taking the Flame Tongue is also a fine option. Push through a lot of damage, put your opponent to 1. Totally fine.
Okay, cool. So he plays the Cabal on the left-hand side, right? And as you mentioned, the Flame Tongue does end up on the right, but you can decide where you want to put the Cabal. So that works out. And grabs the damage there.
Yep. Yep, that was good by him. An equality drawn for add-on. Is this enough to save him here? I mean, he has the knife juggler.
Yeah, he's got the knife. Okay, he can play the Murloc, but he can't activate the Murloc Knight for 2 hits.
Right. Well, he got his 5 out of 6 juggle, which is exactly what he needed to survive another turn. If that juggle hit face, I think he would have indeed been dead on board, but since it didn't, Blue Jacket has no direct damage at the moment, so he can't finish off his opponent.
Oh, and there comes another Warlock card. With the
That's a
Shadow
Shadow Word Death.
Yeah.
I like this play from Blue Jacket. Throw down the Acera. There's a 1 in 5. You just get the Awakens. And other than that, I mean...
It's very sticky, right? Because we've already seen equality being used. So if it sticks on board, it, you know, pretty good chance it can kill him anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to clear. Very difficult. In
Yeah,
fact, I think Add-on might be dead here.
Pretty much. He's got 9, 10 damage, but he can't use his face anyway. No way to heal.
Yep.
No way to do anything.
He needed that knife to hit, and then he needed the knife from Sylvanas and Zombie Chow to hit. That way he could trade his whole board to kill off the Acera.
Oh, that's true. Or if he got the charge Murloc, then
right,
give
he
him
could
a
have
little bit more damage as well. But
Bluegill.
unfortunately,
Yep, go ahead.
yeah, just unfortunately not quite enough there. You know, just sort of trying to claw his way back. Didn't have a Tyrion or a Lay on Hands. That's sort of the, you know, what you expect to see by that point in the game. So, Blue Jacket, even though he sort of missed that, you know, turn 3, turn 4 play, he did have 2 Twilight Whelps to deal with all the 1/1s to come out. So he stopped Add-on's aggression from the beginning, from, you know, trying to get that early Quartermaster out. And after that, all his big threats just kind of worked out. And, yeah, that's the game for the Priest.
Right, so Blue Jacket takes it for California State Fullerton. They're up 2-0 right now. So this could be the deciding game in this match.
I actually forgot to mention we only have 1 series, unfortunately, for you tonight. So this might be the last game.
It could very well be, depending on how this game goes. We'll see what the players have prepared. I'm hoping to see some more Shaman. I mean, more Shaman, as if we've seen any. But I'm always up for some Shaman games, you know.
What about Rogues, man? Rogues don't even... You know, Shamans are at least getting the caster love from you. Rogues are just like, what is that class? What, huh? There's another class?
I mean, I guess that's true. But, I like Shaman.
Yeah, next up we do have Kazi. He is the team coordinator as well as one of the players on the CSL top 10 players to watch out for list. So if anybody can bring it back, you know, get the reverse sweep starting for his team, Kazi would be the man to do it.
Right, for sure. They're definitely gonna need that win here to stay in this match. And Rich Asian Man bringing out the Hunter. He wants to get this over with. He's like, you are on the ropes. I'm about to seal the deal here with this Hunter deck. And a pretty solid opening hand to start it off, I'd say.
Yeah, you get the coin Haunted Creeper, and sort of no matter what happens, you know, you can get the knife. Like if we see a Mana Worm, you know, then that's just kind of...
Yeah, that would be a bit awkward. Kezi brought out his Mage. Looks like it'll probably be some sort of Tempo Mage variant, but his hand is definitely not the kind of hand you want to have against a Hunter. Mad Scientist is good, but like 2 Fireballs, Dr. Boom, those cards are a bit slow for this matchup.
What do you mean they're slow? That's 12 damage to face.
That's true, but from the Mage side of this matchup, I don't know that that's exactly what you want at this point. Rich Asian Man throws down the Freezing Trap. I like that decision there. Gets a bit of tempo. He could have used the Knife Juggler to possibly kill it off. But
he doesn't
the Freezing
really
Trap's fun.
have any anything in his hand that he really wants to give to Kazi at the moment. You don't really want to give him a Shredder or a Loatheb, so I don't mind that play. You delay the Scientist, you know, you wait and wait for something that you could have, right, to get rid of that.
And there's also a very real chance that that Scientist just doesn't get played again, you know? So it's almost like Freezing Trap is like an actual hard removal spell on the Mad Scientist, which is pretty strong. Rich Asian Man opting for the Piloted Shredder here. He's had a really solid curve so far as a hunter. I mean, he's played something every turn, which is exactly what you want to do. He hasn't really made a dent in Kazi's life total yet because of these mirror images, but he's setting up to be able to do so soon. Water Elemental is pretty strong from Kazi.
Now, how do you feel about Kazi just going face with that Mad Scientist as opposed to hitting the Haunted Creeper? Last turn, you know, we did have the mirror image up, but this turn, if he puts a Shredder in, then, you know, Rich Asian Man is able to pop his Haunted Creeper.
Yeah, I'd say it was a tough call.
And not to mention, you know, just having the Beast for a kill command or for a Houndmaster.
Right.
Like
I mean,
that.
he didn't see a Houndmaster last turn. That might have been in the back of his head, but kill command was also a consideration for sure, as we just saw. Is a really strong play from Rich Asian Man. And if Kazi had traded with the Haunted Creeper, then that kill command, that play wouldn't have worked out. He would have been unable to clear off the Water Elemental in that way.
Yeah, and also with the Knife Juggle potential as well, right? So...
But either way, opts to trade in the Scientist, go off the Shredder, gets an Iron Beak out in return. You can't really complain about getting a Beast, even though it is just a 2/1. We do see that that's a Mirror Entity from Kazi. Rich Asian Man testing out the secret with his Knife Juggler. Definitely the right call, I think, because he can just trade in his Scientist.
Yep.
Which pulls a Freezing Trap for him. That's the second Freezing Trap. And I like the Houndmaster. Let's buff up this Iron Beak Owl, put on a lot of pressure. And even though your opponent's only at 24 on turn 7, you're still feeling pretty good with where you're at. Loatheb in hand, Unleash the Hounds to follow up a little later.
Yeah, just a really good board presence here at the moment for Rich Asian Man. Now Kazi, he's got a couple options here. Mostly I just see, you know, either Dr. Boom or Nexus coming down here.
Yeah, personally, I really like the Dr. Boom. You know, it is turn 7. You are a bit afraid of the second Freezing Trap. I'd say like 99% of mid-range hunters play 2 Freezing Traps, so you don't want to play just one clunky minion and then have it just get frozen next turn, you know, because at that point, you're probably just going to be dead. So I really like the Dr. Boom here. I think it is a play to win while also being a safe play, like a play to survive as well. So I like that line of play from him.
Yeah, definitely. And the Boom bots, you know, kind of protect him from the Knife Juggler. That's sort of the best part of it. Is, you know, your opponent's doing something, like, even if he unleashes here, it's like, okay, alright, maybe you hit a Boom bot and it just kills off your Knife Juggler, and even if it doesn't, he's got 2 other creatures with 3 health. If it hits them, that's a 50% chance to kill those as well.
Right. Ooh. There's a Joust. An even Joust, which does mean nothing will happen, but Rich Asian Man... Ooh, that bomb was good, but he's still got to be feeling pretty solid with where he's at, especially with the second bomb killing off a Hound.
Definitely.
Was an interesting play to go with King's Election to Unleash the Hounds. I personally like the Loatheb there because, you know, you expect a lot of spells from Mage, especially something like Flame Strike. You could have locked him out of that option, but I think either line of play is fine.
Yeah, I think at this point there's not much Kazi can really do. He's only got the 1 fireball. Ooh, okay. Arcane Missiles does come out, so...
Yep, that could work some magic here, but...
Unfortunately doesn't really... Okay, so I was gonna say he could play it with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, but just float 1 mana, but this way he does have the Fire Blast,
Yeah, he kind of had to go for it that way and hope he got lucky, but unfortunately, one arcane missile did hit the face, which was the one damage I think to seal the deal here. Rich Asian man gonna take it home. Wow, that is a 3-0 sweep, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, he brought the hunter. He said, this is business. So we need to finish this series off right. And I think Hunter is definitely a good choice to do that. Apply a lot of pressure and just make your opponent deal with it. Unfortunately, Kazi did have a slow start, wasn't able to deal with the pressure, and Rich Asian Man did take it home for California State Fullerton.
Yeah, I think they just read the situation very well. The warrior was already played.
Hmm.
Paladin also another sort of aggressive deck that might be able to go toe to toe. Now they do know that Kazi likes to play tempo decks, so I think playing the hunter against that works out pretty well.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was definitely a good choice and very good point. Also, I agree about the warrior being used and the paladin because you don't have to worry about secret paladin or anything like that. I mean, I guess another thing in the back of your head could be something like freeze mage, which could be good against mid-range hunter, but
Yeah,
it
but
worked out.
knowing Kazi plays tempo decks, they're pretty sure that wasn't going to happen.
Right, right. That's true. So maybe they did some of their research there.
So with that, California State Fullerton will take the series 3-0, a sweep over, unfortunately, the Banana Slugs.
Hmm.
So this will be a sad slug today, getting squished.
Come on. They already lost 0-3. You
And
don't need
have to
to beat them
rub it
into
in.
the But yeah, I mean, I would say they played, pretty well. There isn't a whole lot I could fault them for. It's just like, that's Hearthstone. A few unfortunate draws, and California State Fullerton also just on their game today brought some strong decks, and it worked out.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I don't think we really saw any, specific misplays from either of the players. At most, it's just like, well, I don't know if I would do that, but,
hmm.
definitely nothing wrong.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
with that,
So,
yeah, like we mentioned, only one series today. Very unfortunate that it had to be a 3-0, so kind of a short program for us today.
hmm. I'm kind of just like, wow, it's
Like,
already over.
oh,
Hmm.
hey. All right, so with that, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Twitch and Blizzard. And thank you all for tuning in.
Hmm.
So that is all. I am Lucia. With me is Nomo Dogan.
Yep. Also, let's see. The next thing coming up in Star League, I believe there's something going on tomorrow. Dota 2
Yep,
at
Dota
6
2
p.m.
and StarCraft 2 at 7 p.m.
Hmm. And you guys can see the schedule below if you want to check that out.
And to catch more Hearthstone action, come back on Friday on Channel 2, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Yep.
Alright, that is all we have for you today. Thank you. Have a good night. And that is all, folks.